bit of breaking news ahead of the trade deadline. The LA Clippers and James Harden are working closely together to find a new team for the former MVP. James Harden, who is currently 36 years old, is earning $39 million this season and has a $42 million player option next year. He's averaging 25 points, 8 assists, and 42% from the field. And I wanted to look at it two ways, from the Clippers' perspective and Harden's perspective. Let's look at Harden's perspective first. James Harden wants an extension. He wants to sign an extension now. He wants to sign a 2-year, $80 million extension from what sources are saying. And we know that the Clippers are gearing up for that 2027 off-season where there is going to be some big names featured in the free agent market. Now let's go and talk about that free agent market. 2027 looks to host Giannis, Nikola Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, Steph Curry, who you assume would get a bag with Golden State, and Victor Wembanyama will be a restricted free agent. Harden isn't getting paid over any of those. They're all younger, they've all proven loyal, they're all superstars. So you look at the next crop of the 2027 free agents. Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, Trae Young, just to name a few. Trae Young's younger, so of course people will prioritise giving him money. Anthony Davis is a two-way player and a former champion who, injuries aside, can still compete. And Karl Anthony Towns is younger, his upside is larger, and yeah, it's just youth on his side. Harden doesn't want to be competing against those guys for big money in that off season. So for his contract to run out, with the player option next season running out, and him going into that market, he's not going to get the money potentially he wants. Or if he does, he's going to be one of the last to sign a contract, and it's probably not going to be for that high amount of money that he's looking for, or could get, should I say. So then you look to, if he walks into the off-season this year, declines his player option, LeBron is a free agent, assuming he doesn't retire. He would be up against the guys like CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Kristaps Porzingis, Anthony Simons, Norman Powell, Rui Hachimura. Contending teams will give James Harden more money than those mentioned besides LeBron, just for the simple fact of his high level of play, his playmaking, etc. Harden would probably fancy his chances more this off-season, getting paid on a 2 or 3 year deal for $70, $80 million, 2-year, $80 million deal this off-season than the next off-season. So if he gets traded now, essentially it's with the belief that he'll sign a contract at his next team. I believe that he has told the Clippers, and this is just a theory, that if I'm not traded, I will not be exercising my player option and I will be walking into free agency this off-season. So essentially it leaves the Clippers empty-handed. Where does that leave the Clippers? They trade him now to potentially, the Cavs have been a big name team for a swap for Darius Garland. The Cavs want a pick in return. So they get something back as opposed to letting him walk in free agency. He doesn't want to sign a 1-year extension. He wants a 2-year extension. So that compromises your money in that big free agency pool. So the Clippers are left to try and trade him now or risk him walking into an open market. As I mentioned, they want to play for a guy like Giannis. Assuming Giannis isn't also traded and signs an extension, you've still got guys like Jokic, Donovan, Wemby, Steph. It's going to be an interesting situation, and I believe that this is the point of view that James Harden and his team are looking at. This is the last chance he's going to have to earn a big contract. He's going to be going into next season, 37 years old. And you'd think it's silly for him to turn down a $42 million player option. But if he's only going to get $25 million on the next contract for 2 years, $50 million, then he's better off walking into free agency and trying to get $40 million a season this off season when there are no real contenders for big contracts. And that's just how I see it. This will be his 5th team in 5 years if he is traded, and a 6th team overall. So we know Harden's history. He's forced his way out of Philly, forced his way out of Brooklyn. So teams are going to be, apprehensive to give him that big contract. So it's just something to monitor over the next few days if he does get traded, where he gets traded to and what that extension looks like. But that's just how I see this Harden Clippers kind of ordeal and my point of view.